Supreme and Wealthy Rising, guys. How are you? Southern Goddess here with my big sis Keish. We are now talking about Big Sis's journey on how she started her journey and where she is now. So I'm gonna give Big Sis the floor. And just so you know, it's raining outside. So this is a perfect moment to grab some tea, right, sis?
A lot of it.
And just relax. Because I got my tea right here. I got it in the copper cup because I had to put it down. That rain is so.
Flowers of all kinds,
Yes,
they're good
yes.
for you.
And she looks amazing. Very Aquarius, if you ask me. And I'm giving you the Hershey look today.
It's fall, you
Yes.
gotta embrace the seasons.
Oh, well, the Hershey look is part of the season. Go ahead, sis.
All right, today I'm going to talk about my journey into spirituality, meaning that what led me there, how I got there, and what my practice looks like. So we're going all the way back to my childhood. And my childhood started out with Christianity. My mom was Catholic, but from time to time we went to Baptist churches. And I remember when I was really, really young, my mom read me a book. I remember the color of this book was red. I believe it was like The Seven Deadly Sins or something like that. I remember the book scared the crap out of me. There was a picture in the book that I kept looking at the guy and I can still see the picture in my head. But it didn't scare me enough to keep me from understanding what, as I got older, what was going on. So, of course, because I did do some Catholic, because my mom's side of the family and my grandmother mainly went to Catholic church. So that background started to stem. And if you understand esoteric Judaism and Catholicism, they actually kind of merge. A lot of rituals, a lot of ritualistic stuff like your holy waters, your holy oils, your incense, these types of things. But at that time, I didn't know what they were. I just knew that it was part of the practice. I did what I seen them do. We imitated. A lot of times when we passed a Catholic church, we did the sign of the cross. Um, and these were some of the practices. Then, as I got older, my mom married, and my stepdad at the time was more Baptist, maybe even what I would consider Southern Baptist. And so we started going to church in his under with his understanding. If he didn't go to church and mom didn't really want to go to church, we went to Catholic church because in Catholic church you don't have to dress all up and it's only about 30 or 45 minutes um, total, not sermon, total. So you're only in church about 30, 45 minutes and then you're out. The message is short and sweet, but there's a lot of, like I said, ritualistic stuff that you get to see. Moving on through Baptist church, anybody who's ever had strict parents or strict family members, because I ended up going to church with mom, dad, aunt, or mom, dad. I think she's like my second cousin, something like that. But the picture is we're in Germany because we didn't live in the United States during a lot of this time frame.
Sis, I have a question.
Yeah.
Between Catholic and Baptist, were the energies the same? Like, did you feel one was more relaxed than the other?
So, Catholic Church is real straight to the, well, I can't say it straight to the point, but what I will say is you do the like the introduction and then you have the sermon. There is little hymns and songs that are done in between, but when you go to Baptist church, it's a lot of choir singing,
Yeah.
a lot of yes, it's
Yeah,
they're
it's the
very
light got
they're
bright, right?
in tempo they are drastically different.
Yeah.
Okay. And even the churches are drastically different. They
Yeah.
look different. I've been in cathedrals where you look up and you see all kinds of cherubs and paintings and this and that and other, very extensive and beautiful, on
Yeah.
that side. And
Yeah.
then I've been to ministries. So no, I've never been to any of your larger ministries that are money grabbing.
I've been a couple of
Okay.
those, and I will say you can get a message out of it,
Mhm.
but it gave off more so we're just performing for you right
Okay.
now. Like it's not they wasn't really like actually dabbling in the message, more so we're
Okay, so what I've
performing.
been in is I've been Deepwood, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
um, white church,
Wood,
small
okay.
wood floors,
Yeah.
real old hymns being sung, the
Yes, all right, yeah, I know those.
wow.
That kind of
So
church.
I've been in those too. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
those.
I've been in those, but I've never been into your multi-million dollar like
Yeah.
Creflo Dollar,
Like
yeah,
them
some
big
of them.
churches you see
Not,
on, yeah.
I've not been to any of one of those, but I'll explain.
Yeah, yeah.
So I went through that, and as I'm going through that, um, Catholic church was just Catholic church. Okay. My mom talked about going to Catholic school and some of her practices, and of course, as a child, you want to pursue that. But Baptist church is where things really grabbed me, meaning that once I understood what the Holy Ghost was, and seeing people in the church that I knew for sure was going to church, and a lot of them I went to school with because by this time I'm in high school.
Mhm.
Okay. And so at this point, I'm in the choir. No, I'm in middle school. I'm sorry, I'm not in high school. I'm in middle school. And at this time, I'm in choir. I'm going to Bible study. So I'm in church 7 days a week because at this point, I decided I wanted to be an evangelist. Now I'm in middle school and I want to preach the word. So I need to understand the word. Now, why do I want to preach the word? Because as a young child, I grew up saying I wanted to be a nun. Okay. And that's the Catholic part of it. And then the Baptist part of it was let's preach the word. Okay, I came to that because the Holy Ghost is something that intrigued me. And as an
Mhm.
Aquarius, we
Me
need our
too.
minds to be ramped up.
I would
Okay,
say that's something that very
I
intrigued me.
never caught it.
So sis, I remember coming down there and I just remember falling. I was just like, am I supposed to stay here? Like so that's
Never, I never got it. I don't know if it's because I'm too controlled within myself to let myself lose
yeah.
that type of control.
Yeah.
But from what I understood, it was a feeling that you couldn't fight. It would just take over you, okay? But as a young kid, when you see this, the first thing you want to do is laugh because you don't know what's going on. It's very high energetic.
Yeah,
So it
it
makes you
looks
want to
funny.
giggle, get excited,
Yeah,
and
it looks
laugh.
funny.
But we weren't allowed to do that. You got in a lot of trouble.
Got
And
that
so
honorary pinch from my
we
mother.
really, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we got our butts tore up. Mm. And so the Holy Ghost had me thinking, and I started wanting to know what that felt like. I wanted to know
Yeah.
what it felt like to be engulfed by the Spirit of God. So there started my journey. Okay.
I love that. I love that.
And through high school, I was distracted. So we're going to not talk about that. But in there, between me being distracted with high school and being a teenager and all of that, there was an Islamic influence that started to come up towards like the late middle school years and understanding. I love the way the women dressed. Okay. And as an Aquarius, all I need is something intriguing to get me to start wanting to understand. Okay. Go
You
ahead.
know what I love about when they wore the what do you call?
Naqabs.
Yes,
Yeah.
you could see their eyes.
Yes.
And some of them had the most beautiful eyes.
Yes.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that too, because that's part of my journey. Um,
Oh, I didn't know.
so I had some very little, no understanding at all. I know that the dress was what intrigued me about those women. Most people would have been turned off, but it was something that was very intriguing. Never really said anything to anybody, but all my Barbie dolls and my dolls looked like they were Muslim women. I had a deep respect for that dress. For some reason, I thought it was beautiful, very mysterious, and it made people wonder. And it didn't have to be straight in your face like we are in America. We have to be straight in your face. We can't be subtle. So now, mind you, I'm moving from the States to Germany during these time frames. So yeah, you will get distracted. By the time I got to high school, it was what it was. Parents said, "Get up, let's go to church." You knew what church you was going by the way you were dressed or how late or how early you got up. So we did that. And um I took some of the things that were in the Bible to heart. So there were things that I took to heart. So I got married at 19 and thus went my journey. But my understanding to Islam was still there. I still wanted to know. So when people said they were Muslim, I would talk to them. The only thing is that the part of life that I lived in, most of your Muslims were African American and most of them were Nation of Islam. And it just didn't seem, some of the information about, the only thing I knew is they didn't eat pork. They weren't supposed to drink alcohol, but yeah, it's subjective. In Nation of Islam, from what I understand, because I wasn't in that set, so
Mm,
don't desecrate me for if I say something wrong. I'm just telling you what was told to me,
yeah.
that you weren't supposed to marry anybody outside of the race, any pale complected or
I will say
palm
though,
colored
is
people.
I know a little bit about that,
Mhm.
but I have heard the
So I've done
stories.
research and I do know that unless it's changed, I do know some things about it, because in order to become a Muslim the way I did, you should know and understand what Nation of Islam is. You should know and understand why you should or should not be in it. It's not for me to tell you.
Not
My
sure.
journey took me into Islam, um, the original Islam, let's put it like that, not an American Black offset. So I went through my marriage, and there was a time where my marriage started to falter.
Mhm.
And in that time, of course, when people are in a time of I need to save something or we need to get down in the trenches, my husband wasn't raised with religion that strict on him. So all I knew was to pray. But because he didn't know some of the things that I knew, and at the
Yeah,
time I didn't understand teaching,
yeah.
I decided to change my religion. And honestly, Buddhism was what I asked him first before I brought up Islam.
Okay.
And they laughed at me and was like, well, you've always wanted to be Muslim. Why not look into that?
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, are you sure? Is this something we can do together?
Together,
Because
yeah.
I figured we could grow closer
Bro, yeah,
together
yeah.
instead of growing apart if we changed our religion. And my understanding was that is because it's a religion, it still has a higher archetype
Archetype,
up
yeah.
there, a God, and as long as the energy to me, and at the time I would have never known this, but the energy and the feeling to me was the same, it was good.
Mm,
And so he said yes, but he didn't.
mm.
By the time I had jumped into Islam, I had done the research, I had started to learn what
You
needed
dove
to
deep.
be done. And as
Yeah.
I'm researching, I'm diving deeper and deeper and deeper.
Doing the
He's over in Europe. By the time he comes back, I'm covered. Heads covered, clothes covered. I'm covered. I had contacted another sister. She started helping me out. And when I say things moved in like almost one day, they moved in one day. Um, but during my research time, I started out with a Shia sister and then went from Shia to Salafi, not Salafi, to Sufism. Sufism is the metaphysical understanding of
so it's
Islam.
like the levels or
No,
something.
these are different sets, although they're
Okay.
not supposed to be there.
Okay.
So the first one was Shia. Then, as I started doing the research for my own, it was Sufism. And I was practicing that for a long time. And then I needed to contact somebody face to face because a lot of this was being done online. And at this time,
Mhm,
online presence, there was no YouTube. Let's put it like that. There was no
mhm.
YouTube. Um, so I'm dealing with different information that I got out of the Complete Idiot's Guide to Islam, because we are American. And a lot of times when we want to change, we don't know where to go. And I
Mhm.
do know that most of African American or Black people will tend to go to their people.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be in the Nation of Islam. It didn't resonate with
Yeah.
me. So I got connected with the sister. I met a sister in a mall because she was wearing hijab, which is the head covering. And the whole outfit is hijab. The
Is
head
that
covering
one
is the
piece?
kamar.
That's one.
No, so
Okay.
usually it's an abaya or some sort of dress. Now, mind you, according to the Sunnah and the Quran, it's not supposed to be form fitting. It's supposed to distort the shape of the body as best that it can. Okay. Um, so I came into contact with her, and as I came into contact with her, she gave me a number to another sister. Okay. Now this sister came to the house, was ready to reach out, was ready to help me, this or that or the other. And ooh wee, when you're not ready to see some of the things, she came to the door and she had on the niqab, the face covering. And you can see her face. She was dressed in all black. She wore black gloves and everything. She was all black. Even her boots at the time were all black. And I later realized, later on, as I went through Islam, that she was Salafi. It's a lot of African Americans who stay in the Salafi understanding it's supposed to be really strict. Um, and it's supposed to be straight by the book.
Mm.
Um, so at that point, I decided that it was okay for me to teach myself. I stayed with it for a minute. Some things were not resonating. Like my husband did not take his Shahada, did not become Muslim. So he only had a certain time frame that he could become Muslim.
Yeah.
And if he did not become Muslim in that time frame, then I had to treat him as if he was a stranger off the street.
Mhm. So sis, when she came to your residence,
Mhm.
right? So is that like is it almost like an interview session
No, no,
almost?
no. She was a
Just,
sister who heard that there was somebody out there who wanted to
she just
become
giving
Muslim
them
and needed help and
information and
needed
stuff like that.
information.
Okay.
Yeah, what books do I need? What do I
Yeah.
need to learn? Islam is very, very beautiful, but if you learn it in the wrong way or you don't read the right stuff, you can really much get it conflicted. And now understand that I'm coming out of Christianity, which is the religion of the Trinity, coming into a religion that only has one source. You see what I'm saying? And that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is the head. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the one who brought the book to us, or the recitation of the Quran to us. It's not the same as the Father and the Son. Okay. So now I have to sit some of that aside and pick up something else. And then you start to find out that in Islam, in order to truly understand, you need to understand the Arabic in the Quran so that you can understand exactly what it's saying, because those words over there do not translate good over into our language. Yes. So I journeyed through Islam. I journeyed through Islam from 2004 to 2020, 2021, 2022, somewhere in there. And about between 2017, 2019, spirituality started to creep up. But it didn't, it had always been there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the energy from Christianity going into
base.
Islam,
Yeah, it's the base of everything.
started to where I am now. Okay. What led me to where I am now? Of course, every time we change something in our lives, something in our lives is going wrong. But I was really suited. I loved Islam. It gave me the liberty to be exactly who I wanted to be, but there were some restraints, and those restraints were the restraints that allowed me to say that maybe there's something just a little bit more understanding, and it doesn't have to trap me inside of some sort of box. As an Aquarius, especially me, I can't speak for all Aquarius. I don't like to feel like my arms have been pinned behind my back and I can't move them completely.
I don't like to be confounded.
Yes.
Nope.
Most people would think it was the dress, but the dress, even now, with me, picking up spirituality completely and not really holding the Islamic faith there anymore, I don't feel like it'd be right for me to dress like them. But I did start wearing the niqab.
Right.
I wore hijab for a long time. And then I did decide that at my 10-year mark in Islam, I wanted to put on niqab. So I started doing that. Challenge. Challenge. When you that one veil over your face causes so many people to show all their colors. Um, that was an
Yeah.
experience.
So sis, what if I wanted, because this thought came to mind, like what if not only this was just an experience for you to experience what it is that you needed to know out of there,
Mhm.
but what if it was also for you to actually see the true colors of other people just being behind?
So it was. It
Mhm.
was for me to be able to say that people judge you based off of what you look like first. And when you take that away, they feel like you've taken their right to you away. And I did. I took my right to people being able to judge me based off of what I look like, what my hair looks like. You couldn't see nothing, like sis said, you can only see my eyes. And maybe I exposed my hands every now and again, but you couldn't see much of me. And you start to see how, and I'm going to use this word and it's not loose, ignorant people are. People feel like they have a right to you, they have a right to see you, they have a right to know you, or they have a right to judge what it is that's going on. And it put me in the perfect position, one, to learn to listen to what people say and react to what they're saying, but set my ego down. And so I remember at this point, I lived in Atlanta and I had this lady walk up to me and um, she was like, sweetheart, you're in America now. You don't have to be oppressed. And I looked at her and I said, I chose to look this way. And I told her, and I said, the definition of oppression is to force somebody to do something against their will. And I said, and because I chose to look like this, I'm not oppressed. And her mouth dropped. Now, mind you, she was a palm complected lady.
Pomeranian.
And I giggled. But what I can say is she was more respectful than the Black people.
Ooh.
Okay.
Mm.
And I had a Black woman come in the store and I'm in the cob. I'm a manager because we do have the right to look the way we want to against what anybody else thinks. And she came in and she just put on a show screaming, you need to take that off. And I'm looking at her, I'm telling her, I said, I think I'm gonna need you to calm down or I'm gonna need you to leave. You can't ask me to leave. Yes, I can. Because one, you're disturbing everybody in the store.
Two on the
And two, you're making this big scene like I've just done something to somebody. So I got a good eye open. My family, I don't really talk much about them. But I'll tell you this. They weren't as in my corner as they believed that they would be. Okay. Even when you compare, and this is nothing against anybody in the LGBTQ, because I'm not against anything that anybody wants to do for self. Okay. And never will I be. But to make the assumption, at least you're Muslim and not gay, the two have nothing to do anything
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
And to respect any of us, why would you do that? If even if I chose to be either or, it's not your business.
Yeah.
Nor is it any, there's no reason for you to say anything.
As long as it made you happy.
But
so that should have mattered.
I got to see a side of my family that started to really open my eyes. Okay. And I heard some things through pipelines and little birdies, and I know people like to embellish talk and this and that and other. And I heard that there was some misunderstood teachings about Islam. Man, let's put it like this. If you went to any clergic schools in America, any of them, I don't care which ones they were, you're not getting a good depiction of what Islam really is. Okay. Because our books only tell us what they want us to know. Okay. And until you start to get the books that have the right information in them, and this goes for all of them, spirituality too, if there's something that could give you some type of elevation to your life and somebody wants to keep you pushed down underneath their understood message, They will take that out of any book. I don't care what it is. So when I say that I did not go and get any books out of Barnes and Nobles except for the Complete Idiot's Guide to Islam, that's what I did. And all the rest of my books came from reputable sources that I knew that I could read, understand, and also learn the Arabic in them as well. So if anybody comes to me saying that, oh, well, as a female, I changed my religion to Islam because my husband is Muslim, and I'm looking at them like, you don't know what you're doing.
Yikes.
I had people come up to me while I was in Niqab saying, oh, did you change your religion because of your husband? No, sweetheart. On the contrary, he had to change his religion for me. Okay. Because in America, just like with a lot of our, even the Eastern understandings, if it needs to be watered down, tainted, or twisted, we will do it in America. Yeah, I hate to put it out there like that, and I'm not trying to be rude, but if you want to taint it, twist it, mix it up, make it your own, turn it into something, turn soup into pudding, we're doing it here in America. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to know, and when I want to know things, I go out and I get it for myself. So yes, I taught myself Arabic. Yes, I taught myself Islam. Did I have other people out there? There are some great understood Islamic teachers on YouTube, because by the time I started jumping deep into it, by now YouTube has come up. There are some that are not so good out there because I ran across them too. And when I ran across them, they were putting out stuff like I can have a second, third, and fourth wife, and the first wife has nothing to say about it. And, when you're new to Islam and you're hearing about men having multiple wives, the first thing women do is they want to cringe. But when you read and understand what the actual understanding is for, because yes, in America, our minds go deep into the gutter first before we go straight up into the universe. So most people think that 4 wives is at the benefit of the man. It is not. 4 wives is at the detriment of the man, because he has to be able to provide each one of those wives 99%.
I learned that through a friend.
Okay.
Friend.
Yes. And you cannot ask a Muslim woman to work. You cannot ask her to, these are things she knows what her role in the house is. And if she does extra, it's a gift. The man is supposed to be the provider. So it stays really kind of strict to the Adam and Eve complex. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree, the man is the provider. The woman takes care of the home.
So that gentleman really has to be balanced, to make sure he's able
Yes.
to take care of
Yes. So once again, going through Christianity into Islam, you can find spirit there. You can find the man. So you can definitely see what man put his hands on, okay? But you can also find the spirit. And when you find the spirit there, Islam taught me things that Christianity didn't, and that was to be me. That I didn't have to turn the other cheek, that I was allowed to take up for myself if I needed to, that I wasn't supposed to inflict extra force. So if the person only came at me and they slapped me, I'm only supposed to slap them back. I'm not supposed to close fist them. You see, Islam taught me how to be a lady versus a woman. It taught me how to understand certain things in the household. It gave leadway to things that Christianity kind of cut off. And it doesn't preach fire, hell, and brimstone, but hell in the Quran was way worse than hell in the Bible ever seemed.
Sis, it sounds like they recognize the feminine in the
It is very much an astrological religion, and coming out of the religions into spirituality. Now, this part people might disagree with. You do your research, I've done mine. We might not come at the same end, but that's okay. I know what I know. You might know something different. Christianity is the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? Okay. Also, it has that our books have been translated over and over and over and over again. As you can see on the front of the book, it'll tell you. Okay. Christianity, where the word did not translate, was son, S-O-N versus S-U-N. So Christianity is actually the religion of the Son. Okay. Now I'm Muslim when I found this stuff out, just learning about some of the spiritual understandings. And Islam is the religion of the moon. It's tranquil, it's emotional, but it's comforting. So if I looked at Islam, I would look at it as a Cancer in their nurturing understood self. Okay. It doesn't teach some of the things that they were saying some of the wars were about. It doesn't teach that, but it does teach that I must protect what belongs to me. I'm not just going to let you come in here and take over what doesn't belong to you. It's the religion of tranquility. Okay. Very spirit led, but in an emotional way. I had to understand spirituality in order to be able to understand some of the connections that needed to take place in Islam because some of the connections were happening.
Yeah.
And I still think it was just because it was still a little too man-made for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to argue about this with anybody. You believe your beliefs, I believe mine, but it still had too much
Structure.
Yeah, it still had too much on it. And so I did my time there. I loved it. It was beautiful. I think if I was to go back into religion, it would be Islam, and I would be in the um, Sufi, the metaphysical portions of it, because everything I do now is metaphysical. Okay, now let's move forward because I could be long on this because Islam took up a really large portion of my life. Moving into spirituality, I'm in Georgia. And spirituality came to me at a time where when I start questioning things, I start getting answers. And I just remember the energy shift in the building. And next thing I know, I'm hearing Kundalini. We've got crystals in the store. We've got raw crystals in the store. I've always loved crystals ever since I was a kid. So I was drawn to them and I learned about them and I started talking to people about them. And then I met a lady who started pointing out signs. And me and her, we still talk to this day. She started pointing out different signs in the store. Now, mind you, this one is very relevant because she was looking for black candles in the summertime. And Michael's and black candles, that's Halloween. And so there were so many things that she pointed out, the butterfly on the wall that had been there for years. I had been looking at it and didn't know that it had a spiritual meaning. And she started breaking these things down. Then I had another guy come to me and he was talking about he's had his Kundalini awakening and he's doing all this weird stuff. What?
Oh, I'm laughing because that lady reminds me of me talking to a coworker, doing the same thing to the coworker, and I'm like, look at the trees and look at the
Yeah,
and she was like, oh fuck the trees.
So for me, I'm just looking at her because when I say I'm covered,
yeah,
all she can see is my eyes. And what saves me always is my facial expressions. Don't get me wrong, she was a beautiful woman, but was that something that I wanted to encounter on that day? Not really. Did it turn out to be a great experience in the end? Yes, it did. And next thing I know, I start hearing all these different, people talking about different things and this and that and other. And now as I think about it, even back when I was, in Virginia, still being Muslim, somebody had came to me and asked me if I believed that God was a woman, and I looked at him like, you're just going to ask me this? You're not going to give me no context? You're not going to tell me, do you believe God is a woman? No, I don't believe it's a woman. I've never believed God was flesh. Even as a kid, I never believed God was flesh. I always knew that Jesus was Mary's son who was supposed to be the son of God, but Jesus was never God. From what I was taught.
Yeah, a lot of people got that confused.
And then as I started getting older and I had pulled myself out of the church and had went into Islam, now I'm hearing people say Jesus and God are one and the same. And I'm sitting there looking at them like, whoa, stuff has really changed.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that I did move on to Islam because there was only one God. You knew who it was. It's Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? All praise is given to Allah. Okay. And the reason why it's just one is because the name is not changeable. It's not interchangeable. It's not a god. It's not a goddess. It is exactly what it's supposed to be, a powerful energy. Okay. So a lot of these things that we as human beings try to turn into what we want it to be, we're not going deep enough to understand. And I still felt like I was missing something. And then came spirituality.
Spirituality like
Yes,
closes in the gaps.
it really does. It's running through all of it, but they've missed the mark in most of them because spirit is not there. It's been drained out. It's been made into something that's I won't say manipulative, because if you let somebody manipulate you, that's you allowing them to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's you allowing them to do
Because
it.
that could be your, like we said, that could be your pathway to your
Yeah.
spirituality and stuff like that.
So I'm not going to say it's a manipulation, but there is spirit in each one of those books, and it's strong. But the strongest spirit that I've ever seen walks alone by itself. And so out of spirituality comes Abraham Hicks and Neville Goddard. And I started listening to Eckhart Tolle. And these people are having beautiful experiences in lives. And as I walked through religion, yes, I had beautiful experiences, but these people are having profoundly beautiful experiences every day, which means they know how to deal with some of the flops that we get in life. And I wanted that. But not only did I want that, I wanted to know this energy that was so powerful that it would engulf me and make me believe that I could do anything in this world without anybody, that it would provide for me, that it will do the things that it said it would do, and not just be something superficial. And I found that in spirituality, but my spirituality and my practices are very different.
Yeah.
Because my foundation is very different. I'm here for spirit, my spirit. I want my spirit to work for me. I get that there's other spirits out there, and I get that other people deal with them, but for me, my spirit, and if I can get my spirit to be as strong, if it needs to call its friends and its accomplices, then it will be at a point where it can do it on my behalf without me calling any extras, because I know that my spirit is going to protect and take care of me. Some of these other spirits, they want other things. Do I know about them? Yes. Do I understand some of these things? Yes. Did I deep dive in them? No, because I feel like I don't need to.
Sometimes you don't necessarily have to. Like once you scratched it, especially if your conscious is open enough, you've opened it enough to you scratched it, and that's
Yes.
all you needed.
That's it.
That's it.
So my practice is, it suits me. I meditate. I meditate most when I need it. Do I do it every day? Not really. But I found that I do it more than I thought I did not, meaning that I'll take a meditation session right before I go to sleep and meditate myself right into a nice, deep, understood sleep so that I'm not worried about anything, that type of way. If I feel like there's some heaviness going on around me, I'll definitely meditate. So I'm very big on meditating because, believe it or not, meditating is what started to help me get into the place that I am in now.
Yes,
it worked.
Very
Although
helpful.
I understand monkey mind, I understand some of these things, but once you take meditation and push it just a little bit farther and tell yourself you can, it really does work.
It does.
So that is a deep practice for me. I've done crystals, I've outgrown them. I love them. They're still beautiful, but the energy is within me. So I don't need them. I wear them on days that I feel like it needs to be a part of me. But outside of that, they're not in my day-to-day practice. Tarot cards, I pull those every now and again. I love them because they're pretty. I'm very Aquarius when it comes to that. I will play with them. Will I connect to the energy and pull some things out of it from the energy? I have done that. I know what it feels like and I know what to do. Most of the time, I just pull them for myself because I'm not very proficient for reading with other people.
Plus, you got to be mindful when you taking in somebody else's
Yes,
energy.
you really do. I do sage, I do bells, I ring bells. I've understood portions of the chakras. I went through that. I've been down just a little bit of everything in spirituality. what I've grabbed for myself will be a whole nother video.
Mhm.
But what I've grabbed for myself works. But what I want you all to know is no matter which way you come to spirituality or whether you stay in religion, you always outgrow something.
You do.
Okay, nothing in this life is permanent. When you understand that, you'll be more gentle on yourself when you find that your book is no longer calling you, you're called to something else. It's not the people around you that need to understand, it's only you. Because when you walk in this, like they say, when you have abundance of money, the first thing they say is it's lonely at the top. Okay. When you're walking this path and it's still it's old. It's older than actual Christianity, okay? When you start walking these, because if you understand the Sumerians, if you understand the Atlanteans, if you understand the Kemetic, if you understand what was going on before Christianity, because most religious books should not start in the beginning, okay? Because we don't know when the beginning actually started.
In the beginning.
Okay. And no religion should have a depiction of a man that nobody's ever seen. So think about these things because it's weird how the people who got their hands on it first manipulated the situation to make it look like what they wanted it to look like. You have to decipher within you. Now, I will tell you this, I am Black, but I don't like anything that has to do with color. So if it's too many of us African Americans on one side, I need to know why they're there. Because I know, like your Israelites, Black Americans are still searching for validation. And we jump into these religions trying to find sense of self.
Oh, yes.
But sense of self is not in a religion. Sense of self is going to always be within you. So if your heart calls you to it, then go.
Yes.
It might just be a temporary journey. As you
Yes.
can see, I had my temporary journeys.
Yeah.
It might just be a temporary journey for you to grab those keys of knowledge that you need.
Yes, don't let them pressure you into thinking just because your skin color is the same. All skin color ain't kinfolk, first of all. And like sis said, do what resonate with you because it
Yes.
was a point where I was like, okay, I want to see what it's about. I scratched that group a little bit and I was like, this ain't for me. So and I left it alone. And when I was seeing him, I just politely, no, thank you, baby. I'm good. I'm satisfied and solid with self.
Yes, and now in this time you can see their program very strong.
Yes.
And the deception in their understanding is that Black Jews, and I don't want to go too deep in this, but I will say this. We need to read our text better because sometimes what we're moving towards has a dark side to it and is what we should be moving from. I'll let you take what you need to take from that.
Yeah.
But in spirituality, it helped me to find sense of self, although Islam had already started doing that for me.
Yes.
And then in spirituality, you're just able to be
Flow.
as natural and flow. It's just so much here. And for those who, like I said, feel pulled over here, but your family's not understanding, look,
That's a part of it.
Life is a single street for you. If you incorporate other people who take you off your path, then you will completely go off your path and be on theirs. You need to learn to make your own decisions, make your own misunderstandings, make your own understandings from those and keep moving forward because what's good for sis may not always be good for me. And what's good for me might not be good for sis. And because it's like that, we have to understand that we stayed in the box over here and we did what they told us to do. You see what I'm saying? We got in the next box and there was still a box. Now it's fluid. Speak to your God within yourself.
Okay.
Ask the God within you to show you your path, but be ready for those that aren't supposed to be around you that feel like they're supposed to still be around you to be very critical to try to push you off of what they think you should be doing.
Ashe.
If they think you should be doing it, look at them and see if they're doing it, because 9 times out of 10, people only tell you what they think you should be doing because they should be doing it themselves.
Ashe. Ashe.
Okay.
Good Lord.
So although I didn't go deep in depth on what the understandings and the learnings of some of these practices are, you can always research Christianity, Islam, or you can DM us and ask. But some of those books that I had back then, I don't have now, due to circumstances. I've noticed that each elevation in my life,
Yeah.
something actually collapsed.
Yeah.
You
Awesome.
see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Something actually collapsed from each one of those. Leaving out of Christianity, going into Islam, there was this collapse. Going out of Islam into spirituality, there was this collapse. And in spirituality, even some of the practice of, like I said, they've sat down.
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah, they've sat
elevate.
down. I've
Yeah.
outgrown them,
Yeah.
or they're within, and I don't need them in the
Yeah.
3D world.
Yeah.
That's metaphysics.
Ashe. 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 I love how Big Sis did that, guys. I love that. So, Big Sis, is there
No, do you have any
anything?
questions for me?
Well, I love how you broke everything down. And I remember you was talking about how Christianity focused on the sun, and
Mm-hmm.
then Islam, they focus on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'll tell you this, Islam, they only go into Ramadan
Okay.
from the sighting of the moon. If the clouds and stuff like that is in the way and they can't sight the moon, they'll put it off until
Okay.
to the next day or the next day. And so it's Ramadan does not start until the moon is in
It's
its secular shape and it's been spotted during that time frame. Yeah.
okay.
So look at astrology here.
Yes, yes. And I was thinking, sis, when you were saying about finding your own keys and whatnot, I was like, if you look at your astrological makeup, your own individual universe, your spirit is telling you what you need to be dabbling in to
Yes.
get those keys to unlock it.
So let me tell you this, when Christianity did start to Christianize, it started to deconstruct astronomy in the West. Okay.
Okay.
But astronomy, astrology is all throughout the Bible. That's why now we're hearing people talking about the reckoning.
Okay.
I mean, I think I talked to you about that, how I told you we are definitely either in or through the
Yeah.
Revelations book in the
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah, we was
It was
talking
the
about
end
that.
of the Piscean Age.
Yeah.
So now they're talking about, I don't know where it's coming from. I've heard it a few times. I'm just sitting back because I know there's no time or date. There's only one sign and then that's it. So I people, man,
Yeah.
it's lovely to be able to see where man has put his hands and
The
how
effects,
man will, we're like, I
ripple effect.
want,
Yeah.
they want something astronomical. They want something metaphysically profound to happen. And because you see these people, they're looking for these things right now. But it's not as, and I had to learn this, it's not as dynamic as we want it to be. It's real
It's
subtle.
very, very much so.
It's real
Like we
subtle.
we we like when they say you overthink, really overthinking it.
Well, we wanted,
Yeah.
so like I want big.
Yeah.
If it says it's going to be this big super horn, I want to hear this big super horn. Okay. I don't want people standing with their trumpets and stuff. Man-made, once again, to me,
Yeah.
spirit, creator, all of that, it's not of this earth.
Yeah.
One of my understandings was heaven. If you've ever read about heaven in the Bible, it's gold cobblestone streets with rubies stuck in the middle and all of this humanistic stuff that I can see on this
I
planet.
quickly learned what the real heaven was, and I was like, "Oh, heaven is where I make it." It's
But I'm saying in this book,
yeah,
I'm saying that if you're going to create a heaven in book, can you at least make it seem like something we ain't never seen before?
yeah, because I seen that in Snow White. I seen it in
You see what I'm saying?
White.
I mean, we could get rubies. All we got to do is go to the store and buy them.
That's it.
You want gold cobblestone, go get you some cement cobblestone, your walkway. Go to Michael's and get some of that gold leaf and leaf it up, and there you go.
There you
If we
go.
can fathom it in our heads, we can already see it here on earth. So why would heaven look like what we can have on earth? It's always puzzled me. Even in the Quran, why men can have all these wives and houses and this and that and other. To me, that doesn't sound like something I want. It never did. And I was just like, but they make hell seem so scary that people are just like, oh my God, I gotta do everything to get to heaven so I can have all my riches in heaven.
Not knowing that you're already putting yourself through hell
If
already.
it,
You're putting yourself through
First
hell
of all, if
already.
you sit down and let somebody that's older than you talk about when they were a kid if you weren't born, then ask yourself, where was I during that time frame? See what your spirit tells you. See what your spirit tells you, for real. But don't shrug away at the response that it's going to give you. I don't remember pain before life, you see?
Yeah.
But what I will say is this: take your time, do your research. We can bring up things, we can give you information, but you need to do the research for yourself.
You
If
should.
something really resonates for you, go ahead and jump down that rabbit hole. Don't worry about who's looking.
Ashe, Ashe. That's all we have, family. We enjoyed your story, sis. Thank you for sharing. You was able to explain some things about the different
Yeah.
religions and stuff like that. So, and I was like, I kind of, in my mind, I was like, I kind of had a little understanding about that a little bit. You kind of did this for me. Shh. Oh, okay, that's all I need. Okay, and I enjoyed that. So, thank you for
Thank
sharing,
you.
sis. I'm excited for you guys to share with us
Some of your
about your
experiences.
journeys. Yes, and until then, my loves, find your light and fix your crown, family. Peace. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more conscious talk.